We turn next to Osiris. As I understand it, here is the basic story of the fall and rise of Osiris. He was married to his sister Isis. One day he found himself dead, which was kind of a bummer, as you can imagine. Isis hunts down his corpse. When she finds it, she recites a magical incantation to bring him temporarily back to life. They make love, which is, of course, always a good thing to do when one comes temporarily back to life. She gets pregnant with Horus. Osiris then dies again and, in the afterlife, rules over the realm of the dead. This has nothing to do with Jesus. What people who think it does don't seem to realize is that resurrection is not a coming back to life. Of course, the resurrection of Jesus, like the resurrection of all people, the future resurrection of all people, includes him rising from the dead. The resurrection of Jesus includes that he did rise from the dead. But resurrection is not exactly the same thing as rising from the dead. Lazarus in the Bible rose from the dead after all, but he was not resurrected, at least not yet. He rose to die again. A true resurrected body shall never die again. That's what it means to be resurrected. But Osiris did die again. A further point, the resurrection of Osiris, falsely so called, happens every year at harvest time. In marked contrast, Jesus died once for all, unlike Osiris. Similarly, the resurrection to follow the crucifixion of Jesus was by implication a one-time event. To some, while there is some parallel between Osiris and Jesus toward the times of their death, but the similarities are about this deep. Much more significant than the similarities are the differences. Next, Dionysus is also said to have resurrected like Jesus putatively did. Let's look at that claim now. Alright, so Dionysus, before getting to the so-called resurrection of Dionysus, a few points are in order. Dionysus was a demigod. A demigod is half human and half divine. This is diametrically opposed to how Orthodox Christians have always understood Jesus. He is fully God and fully man, not 50% of each. So there is no parallel here between Christ and Dionysus. And then Jesus is born of a virgin. While it is sometimes claimed that Dionysus was born of a virgin, the fact that Zeus's wife was jealous of his mother, of Dionysus's mother, militates against this claim. Alright, so Dionysus was eaten by the Titans. They ate all of his body with the exception of his heart. The heart of Dionysus was then used by Zeus to re-impregnate the mother of Dionysus with him. That is, Dionysus was born twice from the same mother. This is so dissimilar from the story of Jesus that it is impossible to take proponents of the myth-stealer view seriously on anything they say. If they're stretching such a slim parallel this far, we can't take any of their scholarship seriously. If they're that bad when it comes to doing research. The story of Dionysus bears much more in common with reincarnation than resurrection, and reincarnation is denied by the Christian tradition. So there's no parallel with Dionysus any more than there is with Osiris. At least nothing significant that would cause us to suppose that the one was copied from the other. All of the preceding information about Osiris and Dionysus is readily available at Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not a perfect or infallible source of information, but I find it is normally fairly accurate and reasonably unbiased. That is, unless the article in question needs further polishing, but in that case there is a warning about grains of salt at the beginning of the article. In any case, I shall presume that these accounts of Osiris and Dionysus from Wikipedia are more or less uncontroversial until I have good reason to suppose differently. And you can check Wikipedia out for yourself. Just go there and search for Osiris, Osiris, and Dionysus, Dionysus. In the case of both, we see there are no significant parallels with Jesus and his resurrection. Shalom, and have a wonderful day.